About the year 1578, a group of black Mexicans freed themselves from slavery and established their own town. Come on a journey with me to find the descendants of those freedom fighters in a pueblo called Yanga in Veracruz, Mexico. As you'll see in this video, it was not easy to find them. However, when I did find them, they gave me a window into the culture and history of Afro-Mexicanos de Veracruz.
My brother here, Salvador.
Hi.
Omar.
Hi. Lucy.
Lucy.
Up until high school, I had never heard about the black population of Mexico. Later, I learned that a black man named Vicente Guerrero became president of Mexico in 1828. None of the Mexicans that I encountered in the United States looked black. When I watched the Mexican TV station, the whites on those channels didn't even resemble the mixed blood Mexicans that I saw on a daily basis. As it turns out, there are 2.5 million black people living in Mexico, the country that is right beneath Texas' southern border. Afro-Mexicans are concentrated in the states of Oaxaca, Veracruz, and Guerrero. I decided to visit Mexico to meet my brothers and sisters. Gaspar Yanga was a Gabonese captive that was forced into slavery in Mexico. About the year 1578, Yanga and other captives from Africa established the Maroons Society of San Lorenzo de los Negros. Here is a brief animated history of Gaspar Yanga. It was created by David Heredia of the David Heredia channel.
Known as the first liberator of the Americas, Gaspar Yanga led one of the most successful slave rebellions in the Americas. During the 16th century, sugar was the main crop in Veracruz. Yanga was among the many slaves brought over from West Africa and forced into working the Spanish sugar plantations in Mexico. Around 1570, he led a slave revolt and escaped with a group of followers into the mountainous terrain surrounding Veracruz. There, Yanga and his people formed a settlement, which grew to some 550 people and eluded capture for nearly 30 years. This thriving community became a beacon of freedom for other runaway slaves. Yanga and his people survived through agriculture and livestock. They also waged a campaign against Spanish colonial rule, raiding caravans that ran between Veracruz and Mexico City carrying goods, food, and other supplies. Yanga's raids and the ongoing exodus of black and indigenous slaves to his community upset the Spanish plantation owners. The owners called on the colonial government to take action. In 1609, the Spanish governor sent a military force of 500 men to put an end to Yanga and his group. Opposing that force was Yanga's irregular army armed with firearms, machetes, bows and arrows, and even stones. When Yanga learned of the impending attack, he sent one of his Spanish prisoners to negotiate peace terms. The Spanish, however, had no interest in negotiation, and a brutal battle quickly ensued. Both sides suffered heavy casualties, but the Spanish governor was forced to respect Yanga's strength. Yanga and his survivors retreated higher up into the mountains, out of Spanish reach, and again flourished. After many failed negotiations and military actions, the Spanish opted to negotiate in 1618. Under a treaty, Spain granted freedom to Yanga and his followers in exchange for an end to raids on Spanish caravans. In addition, the former slaves were given land, and Yanga and his family were recognized as the rulers of the community. By 1630, the town of San Lorenzo de los Negros was born, the first free African settlement in the Americas. In 1932, the town was renamed Yanga to honor the courageous man who represented hope and liberty to so many enslaved people. Yanga's courage in the face of danger inspires us all to stand up for our beliefs and freedoms. And we are honored to call him a hero of color.
And just so you know, a Maroon Society is a group of people that have freed themselves from slavery and established their own settlement. In the Spanish world, these settlements are referred to as cimarrones. In Brazil, Maroon societies are referred to as quilombos. You should see the classic movie Quilombo. That movie is about the Maroon Society of Brazil named Palmares. The link to that film is in the description box. First, I flew into Mexico City. In each part of Mexico City that I visited, the attitude was calm, relaxed, and safe. I expected to meet Afro-Mexicans throughout that city. I met several Haitians and some African Americans. As it turns out, there are nearly 72,000 Haitian-born migrants living and working in Mexico, largely in Mexico City. I also met these three Cuban brothers that were there for work, but still, no Afro-Mexicans. While in Mexico City, caricatures like this one, and also the presence of the Black Madonna, made it clear that Mexico had been a part of that old world of slavery and Spanish colonialism. I decided to step up my search for Yanga's people and go directly to the city of Yanga in the state of Veracruz. I flew into the city of Veracruz, also known as the Port of Veracruz. While I was there, I met Martin, who had retired from the Mexican military. Clearly, he had some African blood. He shared a sentiment that I heard throughout my time in Mexico. He shared that Mexico's African bloodline has been thinned out to the point where there was no Africans or Negroes per se. The fact that so many Mexicans expressed this sentiment made it clear to me that Mexicans were largely unaware of Yanga and the Afro-Mexicans in towns like Mata Clara. A brief side note about the city of Veracruz. If you go there, you should definitely visit the Acuario de Veracruz, which is the largest aquarium in Latin America. You will love the shark exhibit and the penguins.
You see those sharks down there just relaxing. And I ask, these sharks, they don't want to fight each other or eat each other? She said no, because they make sure they are well fed. And she said exactly what we noticed there. You see the big belly. She said they make sure that these sharks are well fed. That way they won't be trying to eat each other. So there's our tiger shark. Huge. How would you like to run into that? I think she said it was eaten. Penguins from the area of Chile and Peru. This is something that never crossed my mind, that there were tropical penguins. Look at that one. And then you see that one down there swimming.
I was not able to find a hotel in the town of Yanga via an online search, which resulted in me staying in the town of Cordoba, which is about a 30-minute drive from the city of Yanga. The people of this small town of Cordoba were wonderful. I'm getting closer to meeting the actual black population of Mexico, and I'll bump into them probably tomorrow when I go to Yanga. One other thing I should mention, this place, Cordoba, these are like the nicest people I have met. These people are like super nice and helpful. Mexico City, I mean, yeah, people are nice and does have that big city vibe. It has that concrete jungle vibe, kind of like New York. But I did like it. And Veracruz City,
had a kind of a Miami Beach vibe. Kind of, no, I would say maybe a Destin, Florida vibe, because that is the vacation location for Mexicans. So the Mexicans are going there, kind of like blacks go to Destin and places in the Gulf of Mexico. In the sand, it's not like white or tan. It's kind of grayish, it's darker, but it's still a very nice beach. I would suggest going to Veracruz City. But here and there, the people are nice, but they do give you that beach vibe. You know, anywhere near the beach, they're gonna try to push the price up. And if you obviously a foreigner like me, well, it gives it away in my case. It's not that I'm tall and black. The biggest issue with them jacking up the prices is that I don't speak Spanish. So I am learning more and more Spanish, a factor too. And I pretty much wear the foreigner thing on my sleeve a lot of times by the way that I dress. But, you know, it's okay. But this place right here, Cordoba, really, really close, really beautiful, really nice and polite people. And so close to Yanga, which would be the next place. According to Wikipedia, Cordoba was established in 1618 by 30 men, quote, from the most important families of the region due to the fact that it had to be founded due to the assaults that took place in the region near Yanga, close quote. If you are from Cordoba or of the Yanga region, please feel free to share your insight on the relationship between the two cities in the comments. When I was in Cordoba, one of the hotel attendants warned me to be careful in Yanga. Fairly recently, 2 foreigners were killed in Yanga in 2 different incidents. I'll come back to this later. Finally, I was able to take a taxi to Yanga. One of the first things I did was go to the city square to see the monument of Gaspar Yanga. All right, so I'm at the statue here of Gaspar Yanga. We're in the town of Yanga, which was established by this gentleman, Gaspar Yanga, freedom fighter, and liberated himself and others. And you see this throughout the Americas, in Brazil, the US, Mexico. Haiti is the most grand example of Africans who liberated themselves from slavery. Seeing his left hand here, kind of looks like a sugar cane, but it's a staff. You can see the shackle on the left hand and the right hand that are broken. That's symbolic. In the right hand, see the machete, which he and others used to free themselves. And you can also see the broken shackle on the foot. The town of Yanga was a refuge site, also known as Palenque. And a Palenque, that's just a settlement of blacks who freed themselves. Palenque, for slave black people who were running away from sugarcane farming haciendas and livestock ranches in Veracruz in search of their freedom. It is named after a leader of the rebels, a native of Western Africa, at this time called Maroons. So a Maroon, Palenque, there are many words throughout the Americas for the same thing, free black settlement, or blacks who freed themselves from slavery. These men and women carried on a struggle against the vice-regal government for decades, including the Viceroy Rodrigo Pacheco y Osorio, Marquis of Cerralbo, acknowledged it as a free people in 1630 under the name San Lorenzo de los Negros, later known as San Lorenzo Cerralbo, but today Yanga. So in 1932, they changed the name of this city back to Yanga. Yanga has been recognized as one of the first free people from slavery in America, and is a symbol of resistance, as well as the economic, social, and cultural importance of the population of African origin in Mexico. What's interesting is how many Mexicans that I've interacted with here that really know nothing about this city, in particular this gentleman. So I'll talk a little bit about, there's a larger statue of Yanga up the way. And I'll talk a little bit about what I've seen here and my experience. Now, Cordoba, very, very close, the city over. And I didn't see any dark-skinned Mexicans there. Now, throughout Veracruz, you can look at a population map on the internet, and you can clearly see that Veracruz in the Gulf of Mexico has one of the highest populations of blacks in Mexico. And when I was in Veracruz City, I would see black people, they would see me. Some of them, when I saw the black Mexicans, we would talk to each other, and they would say there isn't a black town, a central black area, and that the blacks are integrated into society. Of course, I mean, I think they're just kind of talking about the experience. For example, Martin, who's a retired military, he was telling me that. Other blacks I met were from like Haiti and Cuba and many different places. Many blacks coming to Mexico, leaving wherever they're coming from. Folks don't realize it, but this Mexican economy is pretty strong. The Mexican economy has increased by 20% against the US dollar over the course of the past 3 years. So you're looking at a lot of middle-class Americans in general who moved to Cuba across the border, who moved to Mexico across the border, or like who live in Mexico and work in America. See, a lot of American money coming this way. So those are middle-class people who are looking at the increasing cost of living in America, in the United States. You have a lot of retirees who come to this place. There are more American expats in Mexico than any other country. So that's a lot of American dollars are coming here to Mexico. That's why you see the Mexican peso going up, but the US dollar going backwards. But getting back to what I was saying, in Cordoba, unlike Veracruz City, you don't see any black blood. Now, to me, this seems historical because this would be the historical black town. And they have a very long history, hundreds of years of history of staying separated. You free blacks in Yanga, you stay over there, you do your thing, you don't undermine our haciendas or what we're looking to accomplish. And we'll leave you alone. And then we have the center over there in Cordoba, like a political center. So, just a little bit of background on what I've seen here.
The next time you decide to visit Mexico, be sure to visit the town of Yanga and the surrounding towns. There are some great places to shop for cultural items. This is a local health food store. The only thing I needed to do was ask. And right beneath the surface is the African spirituality right there in Yanga. I inquired with this gentleman, and out came Egungun of the Ifa pantheon of deities, and as you can see here, Obatala, Oshun. So it's definitely there. You just might need to inquire a bit about it.
So this is the official I Love Yanga store. Hola.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Vinieron a ver las cosas de
Lo siento, no entiendo español muy poquito
Ajá.
de Estados Unidos.
Sí. Vinieron a Yanga.
Sí, estoy aquí a ver Yanga y aprender sobre Gaspar Yanga. Gaspar Yanga. Sí.
¿Usted vino?
¿Sí?
Nomás usted vino. Nomás usted. No. Nada más usted.
Rosa Sirio is with me in the I Love Yanga store, and this place is wonderful. Only thing is they don't have a shirt here, camiseta for my size. So I have this hat, which is lovely. You can see it. I don't really usually wear the baseball style, but I really like this hat. And this lovely lady, I asked her, she turned on me. I was asking her, I was saying, let's do a video. And I think she was saying, oh, she's not looking good or something like that right now. But I told her, people in the United States would think she's very, very beautiful. So she is, mira, hermana. Okay. So there we have it. But I would say if you're in Mexico, a lot of great history in Oaxaca, but this city is wonderful. So visit the city of Yanga. She's from one of the pueblos that's close to here, and I'm getting ready to go to one of those right now, which is Mata. ¿Qué es nombre? Mata Clara. Mata Clara, which is where I'm going. This is the official I Love Yanga store, and I'm trying to get a t-shirt, but they don't have an extra large, so I'm thinking about just getting a large. So now, in this city, I'm beginning to see more of that black blood, that dark skin, that curly hair. Here's an image of Yanga, and I was looking at on the internet as a channel that documents statues throughout the world, and they said they were hesitant to show the Yanga statues, but they decided to do so anyway. They were hesitant because he was militant. But there's a rapper by the name of KRS-One who had a statement once who said if negativity is a 22, then positivity is a 25. You can't reason with a beast. An enslaver is a blind, capitalistic beast that devours human beings like water, like food. So I know a lot of you believe that capitalism is about making money, but no, that's entrepreneurialism. It's gonna be a humane entrepreneur. Capitalism is about the myopic quest for greed, the blind quest for greed, the inhumane quest for greed. And Gaspar Yanga fought against that. There's a much bigger image of him than what we saw over the way. You can see he has his machete. That's the machete of justice that he's wielding right there. He has his cane. Now that in his left hand, that sugar cane, yeah, it was, a source of nourishment, a source for wealth for the hacienda owners. But there, like a staff, that's like a staff of wisdom, right? And you can see the broken shackle there in his left hand. So look, you can see here, that's the coming of Babylon right there. See the Olmec head. African symbology Africans working. White person with a whip, and they have been able to erase this history from history books in many countries, but you see here it is documented on the wall. You can see objectification of the original man and woman of the earth. Spanish settlers with his horse and his gun. You see the African liberating himself, already taken out one of the enslavers. And it should be mentioned that the whites did enslave and try to enslave the Native Americans, but the diseases that they brought with them decimated the natives. Africans were much more resilient to the diseases that the Europeans had. Now, this is an interesting image. Okay, so what we see here is what I was talking about earlier. You see the Cimarrones. You see them overtaking this little buggy here, and you see the man has been killed. This is an interesting image because that white woman right there looks pretty happy. And so now the Cimarrone has the gun. This is an interesting theme here because there's a good movie called Quilombo, which is about Brazil and important free black settlement in Brazil. And of course you can see white women and Native American women going to live in that settlement that are led by the blacks. So a lot of that was going on, just like it is today. Now you see the African on the horse holding the fire. Hasn't forgotten their cultural roots. Probably a djembe here and maracas, playing some music. A little bit more music. Living their life like it's golden, making the best out of a bad situation, surviving.
Back to the two foreigners that were killed in Yanga. According to the word on the street, one of them was selling drugs and the other was messing around with someone's wife. If I brainstormed and came up with 5 ways to get deleted anywhere in the world, dealing drugs and fooling around with someone's wife would be in the top 5. They were both Blancos, however, I could not find out what country they were from. While in Yanga, I met these 3 brothers, and we were like old friends.
So I'm still hanging out here in Yanga, learning all types of stuff, and they introduced me to this. This fruit says like a cherry, but obviously it's soaked in some type of alcohol that's made with sugar cane. And I just ate it. It's very good. Now it tastes good, but it's one of those things where you don't want to overkill because you end up a little bit buzzed. But I'm here with mis hermanos. Yangenses. Okay, well, yo también. Yangenses. Yeah, so this is pretty good, but I'm not gonna have too much of it.
Jorge, to the left, owns the restaurant where we are, which is right across from the town square with the smaller Yanga statue. He worked in the United States for many years before becoming an entrepreneur in his hometown of Yanga. The gentleman in the middle is Jaime. He's an extreme athlete. Jaime shared something that I heard several times in Yanga from people that didn't look black. He shared that his grandfather was a pure, dark-skinned black man. The gentleman to the right, I forgot his name. He took time to introduce me to other local scholars and gave me a ride back to my hotel. Sir, I offer my most sincere apology, and I will always remember the hospitality that you and your wife showed me. This gentleman and his wife both worked in the United States. It is common to meet Mexican entrepreneurs that worked in the United States and later moved back to Mexico. An interesting fact about the Afro-Mexican culture in Veracruz is that the culture is largely preserved in the music. This became clear through a series of experiences that I had. Jorge and his crew introduced me to a local historian by the name of Tono Carrera. Tono Carrera is also a musical artist, and he keeps the culture alive through music. I knew that many of the adjacent towns had large concentrations of blacks. I decided, with my poor Spanish, that I would visit the pueblo of Mata Clara near Yanga. The taxi driver dropped me off at the park, and I proceeded to walk. I saw a car drive by me with Mexicans that were waving and smiling like they knew me. Eventually, they drove by me again, but this time they stopped their SUV to talk with me. I hit them with my broken but spirited Teja Español. Estoy aquí a conocer los descendientes de la Yanga y aprender sobre la cultura de los Afro-Mexicanos. After listening to me go on for a bit, Omar finally revealed that he spoke English. Very funny, Omar. Not only had I found the Descendants of Yanga, I was invited to breakfast with them at Tia Marta's house. Brothers and sisters, this turned out to be an excellent experience. After years of hearing about the Afro-Mexicanos as a part of history, there I was having breakfast with my Mexican brothers and sisters right there in Veracruz.
So, I was at the park in Mata Clara.
Yes.
They dropped me off at the park, and I said, well, I'll just walk around. 2 minutes later, my brother here, Salvador. Oh, not an expert. My brother here, Salvador.
Hi.
He picked me up and said, hey, what's up? And his son is Omar.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
His brother right here speaks English.
I try my
And-
best.
Right. Hola.
Marta.
1 minute. Marta is so beautiful. Lucy,
My wife.
his wife, Salvador's wife. So it's so interesting. I'm 1.5 minutes in Mata Clara. I say, well, I know, my brothers and my sisters are here, and here they are. They pick me up. We're gonna have a meal together. But it's an unbelievable experience. So look, on TV, you do not see the brothers and sisters of Mexico. But I will tell you, if you come to Mexico, don't just go to Cancun and don't just cross the border. Come into the country. This is Veracruz. Come to Veracruz. You will see the interesting history before Brazil or before all of those areas in the mountains in the United States with free people. Before all of that, Gaspar Yanga liberated our people right here in Mexico. So this is extremely exciting, one of the best experiences of my life, and I will tell you, brothers and sisters, visit Yanga y Mata Clara.
Tia Marta has a beautiful home. It was a wonderful breakfast with a variety of Mexican foods like delicious beans, various sauces, along with sweet bread and coffee. Tia Marta raised the issue of being bullied for being black, and that historically Mexicans have been ignorant about the black experience in Mexico. She said that she has seen impactful changes in that area and that Mexicans are becoming more informed about the Afro-Mexicano experience. Afro-Mexicanos face a color caste system that the Spaniards instituted throughout their empire. Essentially, this means that you're unlikely to see blacks working anywhere where there's air conditioning. Bullying, which Omar and Tia Martha mentioned, functions as a way of reinforcing a color line that keeps the opportunities for Afro-Mexicanos very limited. In recent years, Mexico has made some advancement in this area thanks to people like Omar, Tia Martha, and activists like Pedro Sergio Penaloza Perez. Pedro Perez is an Afro-Mexicano activist. He founded an organization called Mexico Negro AC. Their efforts led to Afro-Mexicans being counted in the census, whereas nearly 1.5 million Afro-Mexicanos were counted in the census that year. In 2019, Mexico added Section C to Article 2 of the Political Constitution of the United Mexican States. This addition recognizes Afro-Mexican peoples and communities as part of the pluricultural composition of the nation and thus guarantees their self-determination, autonomy, development, and inclusion. Those are the words of the Mexicans. This makes a difference as related to public funding for roads and schools. Hopefully, legislation like this will help to eradicate the accusations that are hurled at Afro-Mexicans that they are illegal migrants coming into Mexico.
Omar was gracious enough to allow me to interview him at length. His insight is invaluable, and he shared his thoughts with us in English. So, Omar, how did you learn to speak English?
I started learning English in the high school, but like I told you, I have always loved the language. So I like music in English. I used to print the lyrics and just read them. And that's what I think it helped me a lot to have a little bit more fluent English in my speaking, talking, and listening. So that's how I learned how to speak it, and also watching TV shows or movies in English with subtitles. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
So tell me a little bit what it's like to be black in Mexico nowadays.
I have always been proud of being black, to be honest. And most of the people in Mexico doesn't know that there are black people in here. So, like we're talking about in the breakfast, there are always been bullying about being black. But I think this comes from the ignorance of doesn't know about the history that the slaves came with the Spains and the conquer that we came in the boats. And nowadays I feel proud of who I am, and also spread information, with friends and family. Meeting you, it's been very nice. I was telling to my dad that there is like a connection between us, black people. When we saw as well a black person in the street, we say hi, or there is like a blood connection. So that's the first thing that we saw when we first met you, and I feel blessed of who I am.
So have you met many blacks from other countries?
Here in Mexico, no, mostly they came from other countries. For example, we have a friend that is called Mar. She's from Colombia, and actually she's doing the same thing as you. She's trying to look for information of black people that are assigned here in assignment. I'm sorry, excuse my English. Here in Mexico, and we share the same opinion about the connection that we have, the maybe the food that we eat that came from the African people that came here before. Yeah, basically that.
Okay, you were talking about, or maybe it was Mr. Salvador here. You were saying that we have similar experiences, and you were explaining a dish from the puerco. You were explaining.
Yeah, the leftovers.
Yeah.
As we know in the history in general, rich people always had the best dishes or the best meals, and they always left the leftovers for poor people or black people. So, for example, the chicharrón, la rellena, which is the blood of the pork, and we cook it with some herbs or with some spices or some chili, and with the guts.
Yeah,
The pork,
we have that.
the guts,
Yeah.
and there are very traditional, Veracruz traditional dishes that came from black people. For example, fried plantains. That is very common to see in the African that they eat that dishes. Fried rice or things like that. Besides the blood or the color that we share, also we share the food, the dance as well, and the flow that we have.
The rhythm is in the blood.
Yeah, the rhythm is in the blood for sure, and the dancing, the rhythm, and everything. I would like to explain more in English, but I have a lack of vocabulary.
So this gentleman, he says that to work in English, he needs 80% proficiency, but he says he has 50% proficiency. But I think his English is excellent or extremely good.
Thank you.
Porque the purpose of language is to communicate.
To communicate, yeah.
Yeah. So we have no problems, no problema.
Yeah.
Anything else? Because this is for video I'm making
Okay.
to educate, especially my people in my country,
Okay.
about our experience here, not just like on TV with 9 feet tall blancos.
Yeah. Well, actually, the other part that we're talking about, that the slavery in Latin America was not the same that the slavery in the United States. So just to have like a little bit of open mind, I know that it's been hard for certain people, and depending of the area of the country or depending of the world, but just make sure that we all are brothers and sisters. Besides that, every human is brother and sisters. We as a black people are brother and sisters. And like I said to my friend Perry, this is his house as well in Puerto de Veracruz. Your house is my house. My house is your house. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you're ever in Houston, Texas, I can guarantee you good food and a good place to stay.
Thank you.
Can guarantee that.
Really appreciate that. And I like we were saying, this every day is a blessing day.
Yeah.
But today was a very blessed day because we had the chance to meet you and to share some ideas and to share moments that personally for me that's life. To have memories, good memories and good experiences with good people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Omar and Salvador are a part of a family of musicians. Again, the music is an essential part of the Afro-Veracruzano experience, just like you saw on the mural. They play a musical genre called Son Jarocho, which originated in Veracruz. It fuses the African musical tradition with Spanish musical sound. One of my favorite songs of theirs is A Mi Veracruz. Listen to this. The link to that entire song is in the description box. It was a pleasure meeting Tia Choma, who is the aunt of Salvador. She recently had a 90th birthday. Tia Choma had a very nice home, and I enjoyed our time with her family.
Since Tia Choma, I asked her, if you're 90, what's your secret? And, I'm looking for something like vegetables or something. She said, be happy. But she doesn't look 90. How is he related to Tia Choma?
That's my grandma's father.
Okay, so this is her father. Wow, goodness gracious. He was 105? So Tia Choma is 90 and he's 105, so it's genetic. And you can see,
He was saying when he was young.
and here he is, right here when he was young.
With my grandma's mother.
Okay, and here's Tia Choma again. 90, looking really good.
Grandpa from my grandma's husband.
That's exceptional imagery. No substitute for family pride.
Yep.
And to have an idea of the experience of your ancestors, that's what instills pride in people that can't be taken away by anything. So this is exceptional. Before I move on to talk about the economy of Yanga, we need you to obliterate that subscribe button. Tell your loved ones to subscribe to this channel. The economy of Yanga and the surrounding areas are still tied to sugar. Salvador's father worked in that industry. I believe he had his own truck. All times of the day and night, there were huge trucks filled with sugarcane on the roads. And we're at the sugarcane factory. This is where the sugarcane is being processed. You can see over there. That's where it's been done. And this cycle, entire cycle, lasts 6 months. So all of this sugarcane that you see has been picked fairly recently. They like to pick the cane and have it processed over here within like a 3-day period. And after about 20 days, the sugar cane that you see becomes dry. So sugar cane, this is the main line of business and work in this area. After this season, then there will be a dip in the economy, to my understanding. And then the economy will largely be dependent on people sending money back from other countries, like the United States, for example. There were black, brown, and red Mexicans involved in every aspect of the operation that I saw. This fellow saw us hanging out at the trucks and came right over from his own truck. He was excited that I was from Texas. He worked in the sugar industry in Louisiana, which is the state in the USA with the highest sugar production. His English was black and southern, and so was his slang. He shared that his grandfather was a full-blooded black like me. I could tell that he likes to connect with that part of his heritage. So not only did I find the city of Yanga and his Descendants, I had the opportunity to spend a day with them. I thank every single person that took any amount of time with me in Yanga and Mata Clara. Before I get into the Olmec heads, let me share some thoughts on what I observed in the Yanga region. My overall impression is that the people of the Yanga region have not only maintained their bloodline, they've maintained their African cultural heritage. Most important, they've maintained an affinity for their own bloodline. What I like about the murals of Yanga is that they show you the reality of revolution. People of Yanga are very, very proud of their history. I wasn't able to get deep into the spirituality, but I know from my time in Mata Clara that they have rituals that combine African spirituality and Catholicism. The Yangenses are blessed to be a people that freed themselves from slavery and have survived over 400 years with minimal support from the government. There are some modern conveniences that they don't have, but if you really think about it, a cell phone is just as good as a big screen TV. I love the fresh air of outside bathrooms. Afro-Mexicano political influence is getting stronger every day. The political leadership needs to get busy fixing those roads in the Yanga region. I would encourage the educational leadership to focus on providing inexpensive internet and online education to the extent that it becomes your comparative advantage against the rest of the world. That educational strategy is relatively cheap, but very fruitful. My thoughts on education for elevation are based on visiting 11 different countries, teaching at all levels for over 25 years, writing 5 books, and being active in online business on a global scale for 6 years now. Before I give you my theory about the Olmecs, Yanga wants you to subscribe to this channel right now. As for the Olmecs, the story of their origins and physical appearance has been a source of great interest and controversy. Due to the abundant presence of pottery, it is believed that their culture emerged about 2300 BCE in the Revolva River Delta. By 1500 BCE, Olmec civilization had begun with the consolidation of power at their capital near the coast in southeast Veracruz. The Olmecs are best known for 17 large stone head sculptures that are believed to be busts of various Olmec kings. The first head that was discovered in modern times is the Tres Zapates Colossal Head 1, which was discovered in 1938. Altogether, 17 heads were found, with 1 being in La Cobata, 2 from Tres Zapotes, 4 from La Venta, and 10 from San Lorenzo. I had the opportunity to see many of the Olmec heads at the Museo de Antropología de Jalapa. So, in English, the Anthropology Museum of Jalapa, and Jalapa is the capital of Veracruz. So, here we are, the Anthropology Museum of, well, I believe it's the Anthropology Museum of Veracruz, which is a state, and the capital of that state is Jalapa, and the design is beautiful. Like, this area is very mountainous, and you can see they just take advantage of that in the design of the museum. Of course, each time you go down, that's like a different area with other types of artifacts and monuments, and this is an exceptional, very beautiful design. This is the oldest of the Olmec heads, and they believe this was built sometime between 1200 BCE and 900 BCE. They call him El Rey, the king. Okay, so I was just reading that the Olmec heads, that the stone and the Olmec heads originated in different places from where they were built, or I should say where they were found, and it took large groups of organized labor for the entire undertaking. So apparently there was an extremely civilized, complex civilization long before the Mayas and the Aztecs. Each one of these kings, well, each one of these Olmec heads represent a different king, I believe. And the little information here that they have makes note of the fact that each one of the headdresses are different. Each face is different. they are created at different times. So the culture of that old pre-existing people is largely a mystery. So, so head number 7 here, I believe, was the head of one particular Olmec king, and it was the throne of an Olmec king, and it was reused as a head for a different Olmec king. Ivan van Sertima, in his book They Came Before Columbus, and Graham Hancock, in his book Fingerprints of the Gods, both conclude that the Olmecs had African cultural and genetic influence. I suggest you judge their conclusions for yourself. The links to those texts are in the description box. The African facial features on nearly all of the Olmec heads suggest that they were Africoid, meaning that they had features that are common in Africa. They were a tropical people, so melanated skin and a broad nose would offer them an advantage. The only thing we know for sure is that they were not white or mixed with European. It is worth mentioning that the folks who claim that they would not be considered black by today's standards are the people who are white or mixed with European. I think that the first correction that needs to be made is the date of origins for Olmec civilization. I believe that the origins date should go back much further than 2300 BCE. The following clip partly explains why I say that. All right, so this museum really does a good job of delving into the world of Veracruz, or we can say the Gulf part of Mexico. And there was a city, Tajín, that flourished between 800 and 1200 Common Era. And it benefited from 2 river flows. This is a replica of the city. You can see here where it breaks apart into 2 different rivers. Ancient civilizations, doesn't matter if it's Eastern Europe, Africa, here, North America, you notice they have a certain preoccupation with pyramids. And I'm here in this city as it goes up. This is a slope. But here are the temples that are for the people of higher class. I mean that in a social sense, higher class people and priests. But I do find it most interesting that what is it about the temples? What is it about the pyramids that compelled organized ancient civilizations to deploy their labor to build these pyramids? I believe that they were people of different skin hues, ranging from black skin color to dark red skin color. Their ancestors came across the Bering Strait more than likely. We see groups like the Inuit that have maintained their melanated skin in extremely cold conditions. Since humans arrived in Mexico about 13,000 years ago, that means that the ancestors of the Olmecs had about 9,000 years to evolve their culture before 2300 BCE. Also, 9,000 years is enough time for natural selection to show favoritism to their broad noses and melanated skin while in the tropics. That's just my theory. There is also evidence that suggests that there are some cultural infusions from migrants that came into Veracruz via the Atlantic Ocean. Like every other great civilization that emerged along rivers and deltas, Olmec civilization probably came from the mixture of groups of peoples that didn't look exactly alike. I encourage you to read my book, Beyond Ma'afa, Black History from Human Origins to Recent Times. The first chapter on the origins of humanity will give you some insight into the relationship between the environment and our human physical characteristics. The education system underestimates the impact that human migration has had on our cultural and physical appearance. That is a much more constructive discussion than simply having our children believe that their history began with slavery. Chapter 1 will give some insight into why I believe the natives of Mexico were melanated. The link to that book is in the description box. If you are anything like me, I know you are wondering about the food in Veracruz, Mexico. Recording the food was not my priority, but here's a taste of the food that I experienced. Okay, so this dish is called Pozole Estilo Jalisco. And I saw it earlier, it looks so delicious that I decided to try it. It has like 3 different types of pork in it, so if you're for religious reasons or maybe health reasons you decided not to eat pork, then you might want to stay away from this, or just try it and balance it out with eating healthy. But it's pretty good, very unique flavor, and to my understanding it is indicative, it's cultural, indicative of this place where I am right now, which is Veracruz. So I don't know the name of this restaurant. It's right around the corner from my hotel, but they loaded me up. We have the soup here, the pasta soup, which is popular. This empanadas, man, are so delicious. It's chicken in this one. I think this one is, I don't know what that one is, but this one is so delicious. I got the soup here and the coffee. Very nice breakfast.